Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good to have you all here. This is the fourth in our series, the fourth and last for this year, but don't be worried. Lots coming up next year as well. Right. So very, very welcome here. Once again, it is going to be a great afternoon. Some of the UJenius students have already joined some of the previous events up close. So if is the event, it is a networking session giving you the opportunity to collaborate with others. So it's an up close event. If you sit too far and feel too lonely, you are welcome to move a bit closer. Right. Okay, but welcome once again, and it is great to have this event. Thanks in advance to the library, always here, ready to help, giving us this venue to use and supporting us with the technical assistance. And also, do we have online attendees? We have a few. Welcome to those online as well. Right, it is my privilege once again to welcome you to a great afternoon. I'm Francie van Vieren. I'm working with Monwa in the UJenius office and our director and quite a few colleagues from CAT here. Thank you very much. And yes, it is hosted within CAT, the UJenius office. Right, and thanks also, you know, as they say, no man is an island and no institution is an island or department, so we can't do this on ourselves. So thanks again to aQuellé for their sponsorship. Enjoy the water you're drinking, and also to Standard Bank. Thank you very much. Good to have you here again. Right, so yes, very welcome. Right, before I introduce you to our speakers, we have two speakers today. As I said, Prof Corné Meintjes, she's the director of CAT. And then we also have Donna Taylor and her colleague, your name again? Dwasha, and your surname? I remember that. Joshua van der Merwe. Thank you very much, Joshua and Donna. Very welcome. And I'll introduce you later. Right, so what is the purpose of Up Close? To get closer, to get to know more, and to use the opportunity to learn from others, to interact with others. So you are, as I say, the cream of the crop, hey? The top students. But perhaps you just know the students in your faculty. So here you have the opportunity to mingle and to make contacts with people, with students just working as hard as you are and striving to do even better. Right, so yes, you are definitely going to enjoy it. So the focus of these sessions, and I must say, that was the brainchild of Monwa. You've met him. He's our UJenius coordinator. And this is really great. So the focus is here to help you to make the most, to learn how to make the most of your student life and student success. That is where your career already begins. And as a previous speaker also said once, being on top, being admired by others, being a top performer, wow, that can stress you out. And you want to have a balanced life and to enjoy your student life, but also not slide back and stay where you are and achieve your goals. And in addition to that, you're already busy with career development. The course, the program you do, all the development opportunities that there are, all the skills you are acquiring are all preparing you for the world of work. And you must make, I'm sure you do that, the best use of each opportunity. My husband always says to our daughter, a young daughter, here comes the opportunity. Are you taking it? Not there it goes. Bye-bye. Sometimes an opportunity is not for you, but you distinguish what is best for you, what you can tap in, and what you can make the most of. And then lastly, transitioning into the world of work. Well, today you have professionals here who's already in the world of work, and it's very successful, and you can definitely learn from them. The idea is that they share their individual journeys, their experiences, their expertise, their successes, the lessons they've learned, and how you can tap into that. But before we start, a last thing, just to say that it is an ADS initiative, the Center for Academic Development and Support. So our center consists of 3 centers, and the focus of each center is in their niche area to develop students and staff, and also to support them. So first we have PsyCAT. Are you aware of PsyCAT and the services they offer? Students? Okay, the Center for Psychological Services and Career Development. So please, make use of them. Go and knock if you are stressed out, if you are aware of somebody in trouble who needs guidance, if you want to talk about your career options. You have all this help here, so please make use of it. Then we've also got the Academic Development Center, and that is the center hosting, as we can say, the extended degree programs. They've got a writing center. They've got huge help for students whose first language is not English. So development center. And then last, CAT, which is where we are from, the Center for Academic Technologies. And that is also, we want to develop and skill people in using technologies effectively. We all know how it goes with technology. Today you're up to date, to midnight tonight you are out of date. Something new is there. So it is not just to use something because it's new and apparently the best, but how to integrate it and how to use it optimally to reach the outcome and for effective teaching and learning. And always remember, we have a help desk, uhelp@uj.ac.za. If you need support, development, you want to get involved, you can always send us an email, and we've got a great team, and we also refer it to the relevant departments to be there to assist you. Now it is my privilege to introduce you to our first speaker. I'll introduce her and then she can come up. Right, Prof Corné Meintjes is the director of CAT, and she is an energetic and formidable woman. But she has a passion for individuals, for good communication, and she can deal with the matter, but in such a caring way. So Prof Corné, before she joined us as the director of CAT, she was the Vice Dean Teaching and Learning in Humanities. You see the humane aspect attached to that. And also Associate Professor of Strategic Communication at UJ. And where she has now already, for many years, provided strategic leadership in educational technology, curriculum innovation, and student success initiatives. So listen carefully. All the ideas that you can get. Well, she is a professional in her field. She has designed and taught 40 academic courses, 14 industry-focused programs. She published 19 reviewed articles, 2 textbooks, and you know how difficult it is to write, to go and sit and do that. So that is hard work. And 9 book chapters. Wow, and she presented at not 10, not 20, but at 30 conferences, which is hard work, right, to get there and present So well done. Her interest areas are for research. Yeah, it covers a wide field. So, sometimes wide. Strategic communication, stakeholder engagement, branding, which is apparently very important, the scholarship of teaching and learning, and in research, he's an NRF-rated researcher and a recipient of several awards in teaching excellence and digital innovation. Right, we can say lots more, but you are definitely going to enjoy and to learn from her. We'll have the presentation, and afterwards there will be time for questions and answers. Prof Corné, very welcome.
All right, good afternoon. How are you doing? It's Friday. Yay, right? Are you tired? I can see he's very tired. Hey, and on this side, I can see you working, you multitasking. Yes, that's the way to go, multitasking with your laptop. So yeah, it's such a great honor and privilege to be here this afternoon and to share just some of the things that I've had to reflect on quite hard by being asked to be here this afternoon. So I'm hoping that some of the things that I'm sharing with you is stuff that you can take with you on your journey. I know some of you might be finishing at the end of this year. Let's see, who's finishing at the end of this year? There we go. Yeah, that's a bit of a tough one, right? Because now what next? You know, am I going to work? Am I going to further my studies? Am I going to do both of those? You know, these are difficult decisions. And then where am I going to work? You know, what am I going to do? Certainly you've prepared for something, but you know, life also has a few curveballs in store for all of us, isn't it? But I first, just before I get on with what I've prepared, just want to firstly say a big thank you to Standard Bank. It's really great to have this kind of partnership with industry. It's always great to have that kind of collaboration. We appreciate the sponsorship, but I think more importantly, we appreciate the collaboration and the fact that you're showing up for our students. You know, students are at the heart of what we're doing. And so you being here and showing your interest also in their lives, I think is very meaningful. So thank you very much for that. Of course, aQuellé for keeping us hydrated. That's always great. So thanks for that. And then a very big thank you to Monwa and under the leadership of Francie. Thank you for the work that you're doing here. You know, I think very often, you know, you run around so much. There's so much going on. I can't keep up. And I'm sure Francie can't keep up. So we're trying to keeping up with you, but we are very grateful for the work that you're doing. And I'm hoping as students, you're also grateful for the work he's doing just to bring all of us together sometimes in a setting like this. So Monwa, thank you very much. And actually, can we give him a round of applause? Okay, so now the big thing for me was preparing for this, thinking back to the day that I was sitting in your seat. Do you want to guess how many years ago that was? Many years. Do I look that old? Is it the way I dress? Maybe. Yeah. It's about 25 years, right? I think some of you are not even 25 years old, right? Guys. Yeah. Anyway, so life was very different in those days, 25 years ago, but I do still recall the butterflies that I had in my stomach, thinking about what the hell am I going to do now that I'm done with my qualification? So I think as I journeyed and then I was thinking about what I was going to do, I couldn't decide because there were many opportunities. And I think very often, hopefully for you as well, there's sometimes so many opportunities that you cannot decide what exactly you're going to do. So I had to decide, am I going to do honors or am I going to work? And so because I couldn't decide, I did both. Now, my first job was coincidentally at a bank. I'm not going to mention the name. And I hated every minute. It was awful. It was really awful. I cried every day, literally. And in that time, I had to really dig deep because I had prepared myself for a career that really is not looking the way I thought it would be looking. Now, I want to ask you a quick question. When you came to varsity, right, how much, if you had to give a percentage to that, how much of what you learned in school did you use at varsity? Let's see, 100%, put up your hand. Did you use 100% of what you learned at school that you used at varsity? Okay, 80%. 60? Okay, 60%. 60%, that's nice. Okay, 40? 40%? 20%. Okay, less than 20%. Yeah, okay. So, I hope you had a look around the room where people put their hands up, because that's pretty much what happens when you're done with varsity and you enter the workplace. Anything between 20 and 60% of what you've learned at varsity, you're going to take into the workplace. A lot of what you've learned at varsity is just setting you up for the workplace. You're not actually necessarily going to do it. It might be different for a professional degree. You know, if you're doing engineering or law or something like that, it might be slightly different. But for other qualifications, not so much. And so I think that was the shock I went through. I mean, I studied so hard, and here I was, and I'm working, and I'm not happy. So in my preparations, I came across a video on Insta where a journalist was having an interview with Tom Hanks. Please tell me you know who Tom Hanks is. Okay, Francie knows who he is. If you don't know, please Google him. He's probably one of the best actors that's ever walked the planet. Many, many movies that he's made, but he is a little bit older, so I am giving away my age. But one of the things that stood out for me from this interview was that he spoke about one of his first acting jobs. And in this acting job, one day the director was really upset with the team, all the actors, you know, everyone involved in the production, and he shouted at them and he said to them, "You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. All I'm asking of you is to show up on time, know the script, and have an idea." And he said, "Go home, we'll try again tomorrow." And so Tom Hanks took this and he went home and he thought, okay, so what do I do with this? Okay, so what did this guy say to me? Show up on time. What was the second one? Know the script. Third one, have an idea. Okay. So when I heard this, and even when he speaks in the interview, he talks about how this applies to life. And I thought about it and I said, actually, you know, this was really profound also in my career, because in those times where I was crying on my way to work, I still showed up. I still showed up. I gave it my very best. I pitched up for meetings. I might have gone to the toilet to have another cry, but I came back and I showed up and I did my very, very best. So, of course, when we say show up, what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily just mean that I'm showing up like you are here. You showed up for this event today, right? But that's not really what we're talking about. Showing up means the attitude with which we show up, right? How are we showing up? You know, is it with openness, with curiosity, with excitement, even though we are falling apart on the one side? Can we come back and say, I can self-regulate that emotion and I'm going to come in and still do what is required and maybe even a little more? Okay, so that showing up is a mindset. It's a way in which we can approach our lives, not just even with your studies, but I'm specifically talking about the workplace. So for me, I think in that time, it was probably the best thing that could ever have happened to me, that I hated that first job, because I learned something about me. I can do hard things. I can do hard things. If I can do that, I can do anything, right? Isn't it? When we do hard things and we come through it and we're still standing, it means we can do hard things because we showed up no matter what. I want to share this little line with you, and I couldn't help but bringing it into what I wanted to share with you, because it says the door opens most often to those who are already standing in the corridor. Right, so when we get stuck a little bit, we're not so sure where to go, what to do, what are we supposed to be taking our next step into, just be in the corridor. Doesn't matter which one. Just be in the corridor, because a door will open. A door will open, and that opportunity will arise. So that was the first thing, showing up. The second thing is, of course, know the script. Now, what does this mean? So knowing the script is not just about knowing what's going on around you. I think throughout my career, and I've worked in quite a few places, so just to give you a little bit of background, I think Francie gave some of it, but I initially started out working for a bank, then I worked a little bit in entertainment, then I joined an academic institution, but I worked in support. So I worked with enrollment, student advising, right in the beginning of my career, even marketing. I went to countries to go and recruit students, etc., etc. It was a lot of fun. And then I wanted to switch over to teaching. So I started teaching, and I worked in both private institutions and public institutions. I joined UJ before. So coincidentally, Francie was one of the first people who assisted me here at UJ with my design of my course. And so she's retiring at the end of the year, and I think that's going to be quite a tough one because, you know, there's such a long legacy that someone like her would leave. But sorry, that's a little bit just on the side. And so knowing the script is also about understanding the people with whom you are working, the relationships that you are building. And if I look at my career, I'm actually so grateful that I could be at UJ. I left. I went to work at Monash. I then went to KZN with the family and worked there at a couple of institutions. And I came back, and I was able to, because of the relationships that I built, I was able to return and be re-employed. I did have to apply 3 times before they took me back, but hopefully, I'm actually glad that they did. So I want to tell you a different story here about knowing the script, because a lot of what we do at work, yes, it's our work. It's also about what's happening at work. What is the vision of an organization? But I want to tell you the story actually of my husband. So I've known my husband for a very, very long time. We've known each other since school, even primary school. It was quite a hectic relationship. When we started dating, we were on and off and on and off, you know, those relationships. I don't know, do you have relationships like that? Hopefully you don't. We've settled now after 30 years. It's calm, but it was quite a turbulent relationship. But nonetheless, he was actually here. He studied here at the then RAU, but because of finances, he had to drop out. So he dropped out at the end of his first year, and he had to go and get a job. So he got a job as a cashier at a liquor store, right? And, you know, he showed up fully every day. He was always early. He started doing the stock taking. He cashed up, and he actually started running the store. So much so that the owner actually said, actually, you're going to run the store for me. But he obviously didn't want to stay there. He was actually quite ambitious, and he said, no, I want to do something else. And he then landed a job as a teller at Absa. He's also in banking. And I think, you know, if I think of that, I can't believe where he is now. Today, he's an executive at a bank. It's 30 years later. Studies didn't really interest him that much. So I'm the one who did all the studying and he did all the working. I don't know, something like that. And I asked him one day, you know, how is it that our journeys have been so different, but yet you are successful, but I chose a different path to what you have chosen. And you've won awards and you're always the top in whatever. And it's actually become irritating to me. You know, he's winning all these awards and I'm not winning anything. Anyway, and he said to me, there's one basic thing that's always been important to him. And that is, no matter what the task, he must make sure that he's the very best at it. So if it is counting money, he will be the fastest, it will be the neatest, and it will balance. If it is stock taking, nothing will be missing, nothing will be broken, it will be perfect. And so even today, when he presents to the board, he applies exactly the same principle. So no matter what task he's doing, he must make sure that he's the very best. And that, I think, sort of struck me, because very often what we do, even when we study, I mean, we look around the room. We have the top minds at UJ here. And now we look around the room and say, I wonder if that one is smarter than me. You know, I wonder if that one is working harder than me. Or this one had more time off than me. Or maybe they're producing something better. And it's such a big pitfall in the workplace. When I was younger, I used to do that too. I used to look at others and think, flippin' hell, I've worked much harder than them, but they get the same score as me at the end of the year. That's not fair. Or they got an extra afternoon off. And at some point, I realized I need to stop that because I need to focus on me. I need to focus on my work, what it is that I'm doing, and be the very best at what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what the others are doing. It doesn't matter. So you start competing with yourself. So for me, that is what it means to know the script. I know what I need to do. I know what my job is. I know what the institution or the organization needs from me, and I can deliver on that. So that was the second point. The third point was that you need to have an idea. Now, that sounds very simple, right? Just have an idea. We all have ideas and we all have opinions, but can we take that and make it something that is real to the work that you are doing, or to your team, or to a division, or to the organization? And so I was very lucky as a young girl. We were two kids, my sister and I. She's older, I'm the younger one. And she always helped my mom in the house. So she did, you know, the cooking and the cleaning with my mom. And then I was with my dad. And we did the painting. We tiled floors. We fixed the roof. We were one of those homes where we're going to do it ourselves. Okay, so we fixed appliances, we serviced the car. So yeah, I know a little bit about these technical things, and I actually loved it. I absolutely loved it. But what it did for me is that it taught me to problem solve. You can bring me a problem and I will sit with you and we will work through it and we will solve that problem. And if I don't know how to do it, I'll get someone in to do it with me. And I think very often we also get a little bit stuck in, this is what I'm studying, this is what I want to do. But actually, you have a wealth of knowledge from where you come from, whether it's a village or whether it's the city, it doesn't matter. You've learned some things there that you can apply in the workplace. And you must bring it in. And so wherever I went, in every of the roles that I had to fulfill, I had to reinvent myself every time. You know, whether it is now I'm teaching marketing, okay. At the next institution, I'm teaching communication. I even taught law. Can you believe it? One of the courses was I taught law. That was horrendous. I don't think I was very good at it, but I did it. And I had to teach myself. And it was just because I was bringing in these three elements into my life that I was able to actually, you know, pull that off. So I think I do frustrate my colleagues. I'm just going to look at them because it's always asking, okay, but can we not do this better? Isn't there another way? Can we innovate here a little bit? Can we think of something that will streamline a process? And so whenever you are going into the workplace or wherever you are going to be, that is also the mindset you need to bring in. So the three things: showing up, know the script, have an idea, is things that's really stood the test of time for me. Doesn't matter which level I was at. When I started out, of course, starting at the bottom, I applied these principles. Today, in my current job, I'm applying these principles. I make sure that I show up for the people that rely on me. You know, from my colleagues to friends at work, to students, to the MEC, I make sure that I show up. I don't say no. I don't say no. Okay, maybe Monwa will disagree. I have said no to him. It's just because of money. It wasn't me, it was finance. Yes, okay, I thought you were saying I should wrap up. I am actually, oh, I don't have to wrap up. Okay, there is another thing I want to share with you before I end off. And that is one of the things that have worried me a little bit. One of the things that I've noticed, and I did it as well when I was younger, is I became a little bit entitled. So I expected an organization to do certain things for me. Like, I mean, yeah, you get your salary and then you get, you know, leave and you get medical aid and all of these things. These are things you are going to be exposed to, those of you who are finishing. All right, we have certain expectations. And so we become entitled about these things. And I've noticed some of the stuff that's circulating on socials where you see people in the workplace saying, yeah, but you know what, I'm working from 9 to 5. And so once 5 o'clock hits, I'm done. I'm not going to continue working because, you know, the organization only pays me from 9 to 5. So in a sense, I absolutely agree, but also at the same time, I completely disagree because very often we are not paid for the time that we spend. We are paid for the value that we add. Right. So sometimes the value that we add can take a little bit shorter or it can take a little bit longer. And so very often you might be called upon to do something else. And it's a choice you have to make. Are you going to live your life by the haves and the have-nots? What did I get? What didn't I get? Versus, am I going to live my life according to my own set of standards? So what is important to me? How do I want to show up to the workplace? What value do I want to add? And once I've added that value, what else can I do? What attitude am I bringing? Because those are the things that certainly in my career have really helped me to move from one level to the next. Because what does it do? People see that you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who's seeing you. You don't know who's noticing you. Someone out of the ordinary might be noticing something in an attitude you bring. And that makes the difference between you getting a role, perhaps, versus someone else. And so I took a decision in my life that I'm not going to be entitled because everything I have, I believe, I have because of grace. I have because of grace, right? Grace from God. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have had opportunities. I wouldn't have had the chance to actually study, and I wouldn't have had the ability to do that. So everything is grace, but I still need to do the work, right? And so this brings me to the last part of what I want to share with you, and it's actually a poem. It's a poem that was made famous by Mother Teresa, but it was actually written by Kent Keith, and it's called The Paradoxical Commandments. All right, it's not biblical, so don't worry. It is just paradoxical commandments, and I'm going to read it to you. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, people might be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and your God. It is never between you and them anyway. I thank you so much for the opportunity and all the best for your final assessments coming up. We are rooting for you, and we hope that those of you who are finishing at the end of this year will have a prosperous and wonderful career, and we want to hear from you how that is going. We're also here for you if it might not be going so well. So come and chat, and there's beautiful career guidance in PsyCAD. Make use of those services as well. Thank you very much.
Some questions.
Oh, of course.
So we have opportunity for questions, one or two questions. Let's start online. I always ask, is there a question online? Okay, no conversation there. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, I'm sure you might have a question or two.
Please ask away.
Put up your hand, I'll bring you the mic.
Nobody's going to ask me a question.
No question, really. All right, a thought that stuck with you that you're going to apply? Is your hand up? Yeah. It's
No, please don't do that to the poor guy.
Okay, right. Sure, okay. But Corné, thank you very much. I'm going to ask Monwa just to give you something to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed it, and we are definitely going to remember that. Show up, know the script, and have an idea. Have an idea. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can we take a picture, Nancy?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank you, people. Oh.
Sorry, everybody. You want the picture?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, so now over to the banking sector. Right, Donna Taylor. Right, let me just introduce her, and then you can come up front. Right, Donna is a seasoned banking professional with over a decade of experience in financial services industry. And Donna, over a decade. When I met you, I thought she's a student. She looks, it is. So, yeah, and she specializes in private and high net worth client banking. Right, and then her current position and involvement entails she serves as an acquisition manager within the Young Professional Private Banking Division of South Africa. And what does she do there? She plays a key role in cultivating relationships with emerging professionals, ain't that you, emerging into professionals, and delivering holistic banking solutions tailored for the unique financial journeys. Yeah, and we also have a young adult daughter, and it is a challenge, you know. Each young professional has unique financial needs, and it's great to know that there is a sector looking after that. And Donna holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree in financial management, and she brings practical insights, which she's going to share now, and real-world experience to the table. So very welcome, Donna, and your colleague. But Donna, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. I actually recognize a few faces here. We have been presenting at UJ quite a while now. We have quite a good relationship with UJ. And I like to say that it's my second home, right? So I recognize a few individuals around the room, but it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Donna. I am an acquisition manager at Standard Bank Young Professionals. And we really like to come out to universities as well as industries. And we do almost a financial checkup, right? We want you to walk away with some knowledge that you can apply, especially those that are in their final year of study, going into corporate or industry, wherever you're going to go. You can use some of the knowledge and make sure that you're making better money decisions, right? So when we like to look at a financial checkup, right, we always like to say when you go to the doctor, you do a medical checkup, right? They look at you, they check where you are physically, mentally, how are you doing? This is very similar, but on the financial side. So how do you treat finances currently? How do you view it? Does money excite you? Because it is quite emotional, right? So we're going to go through quite a few topics today. And yes, I think afterwards there might be a few questions. This is an interactive session, so I am going to be asking some questions. So please don't be shy. I know you're tired. I know it's a Friday, but please engage. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, please. I believe that there is a sign up, if I'm not mistaken, for this event. So those that did sign up, don't complete it. Those that didn't, please take a second and just scan the QR code. Thank you.
No.
How you doing? Okay, I think while you're all completing the information, at Standard Bank, we have a bold promise. And our promise is that we are here to make our clients wealthier. Now, how do we do that? There's a variety of ways that we do that, from education to preferential interest rates. But we are essentially coming to the market saying, let's help you along this journey. From when you are in your final year of study, when you go and get your first job, to when you get married, to when you have kids, to when you retire. We want to walk this journey with you now throughout your careers until retirement and thereafter. Now, let's just go to the next slide, please. Thank you. There was a video that I wanted to play, but it wasn't working, so it's fine. I'm sure some of you that watch TV have seen this advert. Standard Bank? No? Too busy studying? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to go through with the financial checkup through 4 different topics. The first one is the psychology of money. The second one is money management and the 4 powers that you all have available to improve your relationship with money. 2 key aspects of credit. How do you build a good credit score, right? And how to build good debt versus bad debt, because there should always be a reason why you take any credit. To our solution, which is professional banking. So let's go through the first one, which is the psychology of money. When your allowance, maybe some of you are working part-time, when it comes into the account, does it excite you? Yes? Do you want to spend? Yes, some no. So with the psychology of money, it's a very emotional thing, right? And we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to look in the mirror and we have to be like, okay, when money comes into the account, how do I feel about it? What do I do with it? Does it go out as soon as it comes in, right? Is it not the best relationship, right, with the money that you have? Or you could be someone that's a bit more frugal. Maybe you save. Maybe you go for the cheaper option. That's more of a healthier relationship with money. But we first have to look in the mirror and we have to be like, okay, honestly, how does money make me feel and how do I treat money, right? And then we can look a little bit deeper, because when we look at the psychology of money, we are influenced by so many people around us, by how we saw our parents treat money, by how our community treats money, our older siblings, our friends. All of this impacts how we treat money right now. So I'm going to tell you a personal example when I was growing up. My parents were basically polar opposites. I saw two very different experiences with money growing up. On the one hand, the one parent, when money came in, they would take us to the mall. They would take us somewhere nice to eat. They would splurge. They would buy us a nice outfit. And as soon as it came in, it went out, right? Not the best relationship with money. The other parent, when I got my first corporate job at another bank, I'm not going to name names, they sat me down and they were like, this is my budget, Donna. This is how I use a budget. And this is how you should use it now that you're earning a salary, right? So this parent saved a bit more, was a bit more frugal. So I had two very different views of money growing up. And I can tell you that even at the age that I am, it still impacts me and my relationship with money. So my downside, I like to shop online. I do. It excites me, right? And it's emotional. Like I enjoy that feeling. But the rule that I have set for myself to manage that is that every time I shop online, I put it in the cart, I revel in that emotion, and then I stop and I take a step back. And I return to the purchase 2 days later. And 9 out of 10 times, I don't conclude it. That's just a way that I have learned to stop that emotional purchasing, right? Because money is very emotional. So when we look at the psychology of money, we have to really look at what type of relationship we have with money right now, why it is the way that it is, and then know, even if it's not the best type of relationship, there are tools that you can use to improve it, right? So this links on to the next topic, which is money management. And money management is how do you build that healthy relationship with money? There's 4 powers that you can use in your itinerary. And the first one is, let's just go to the next slide, please. Thank you. The power of knowing. Now, power of knowing that there are things within our control and things outside of our control. Can someone tell me what they think a cost associated with something outside of our control is? Yeah. So an emergency.
Yeah, an emergency.
Right? So I'm going to tell you a way in which we can plan for that, but yes, is outside of our control. Anyone else? What about taxation? I know we don't want to pay tax, but we have to. Sorry, can't run away from it. That, inflation, cost of living. All of these things are outside of our control. All of your power when it comes to money management comes from where you can control things. So this links up to the hierarchy. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the power of knowing what your needs, your wants, and your goals are. Okay. At the bottom of the pyramid, we have our needs. These are necessities in order to survive, right? Food, shelter, transportation. I would even say education. We have to prioritize our needs before we can move on to anything else. Above that, we have our wants. And our wants, I like to say, make our lives a little bit more glittery. They make our lives a little bit better, but not needed to survive. That's that nice Zara suit, going and eating sushi. Yes, make our lives a little bit nicer, a little bit better. But before we can move on to our wants, we have to first get our needs right. And we need to know that. So let's look at 3 examples. We need to get from point A to point B for job, for school, for education, right? Do you think that a BMW is a need? There's always one person that says yes, and I've heard it somewhere here. That's why you're working so hard, right? Okay. Now, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there are other options, right? Public transportation. You can drive around in a second-hand car that is an eighth of the price. Myself, I drove a Honda Jazz, a 15-year-old Honda Jazz for many, many, many years because it wasn't a priority for me, a vehicle. Let's look at electronic devices. We need to be connected today. Yes, for business, for interviews, for clients. Do you think that an iPhone is a need? Yes, there's always one.
Oh, thank
So maybe dependent on what you're studying and what career you go into, right? But majority of the time you can achieve being connected with the phone that's a fourth of the price. Now let's look at food. We need to be fed. We can go to the grocery store. We can get rice, chicken, vegetables, cook ourselves a balanced meal. But do you think that sushi is a need for our mental sanity sometimes? So what I'm alluding to is that we need to first know what our needs are, prioritize them before we can move on to our wants. Okay. And at the top of the hierarchy are knowing what your goals are, your financial goals. Maybe you want to build a home for your family. Maybe you want to have a diversified investment portfolio with shares and property and, bonds and so on. Maybe you want to start a business. These are the financial goals that you set for yourself. And that's right at the top. Now, my goal that I set for myself, I'd said that a vehicle wasn't important for me, right? I always wanted to buy a house before I bought a new car. And I did that. I bought my first house when I was 27 years old. Another goal of mine was to retire my mom. My mom gave me everything that she had, and we managed to successfully retire my mom a couple of years ago. So we need to know what our needs are, then our wants and our financial goals, and allocate our funds appropriately, right? And this is done with a budget. So everyone here, who budgets? Please raise your hand. Not many. No. Yes? A few. Good. Okay, let me ask, how are you budgeting? For those that budget. In your mind? Excel? Okay. So those few that raised their hands, can we go to the next slide, please?
He's coming.
Sorry. Next slide. Thank you.
How are you?
At the end of the month, who goes back to their budget and actually reconciles? Yes, sometimes. So what that means is that you go and you check how much did I actually spend in comparison to what I budgeted for. So those of you that are budgeting but not reconciling, I'm sorry to say it, but it's a wish list, right? Because you're wishing your funds are going a certain way without knowing where they're actually going. So how do we do a budget? Very simple. Whatever income you have, income minus your expenses, needs, wants, goals to give you your surplus or your deficit, right? Now, I don't know if you know this, but anytime you go to a bank and you apply for credit, be it a home loan, vehicle asset finance, they actually ask you to complete an income and expenditure form. Now, those of you that say the BMW is a need, and you start working and you get that approval, if you're not budgeting and reconciling, how do you actually know you can afford that? It's very important. So budgeting, it's a proven method to manage your money. So with the power of knowing, you need to know needs, wants, goals, use a budget, reconcile, because it will give you a lot of financial freedom and actually peace of mind. So you'll see, gives your money direction. You can track and control your overspend. So if, for example, you have said that you are spending 1,500 Rand on groceries, but you reconcile and you're actually like, no, 2,500, you can track that. You can maybe rein it in a little bit, as well as entertainment. Maybe you think you're spending 1,000 Rand on entertainment, but you spend that in one night going to the club, right? So it also helps you achieve your goals, and it really does build good habits. If you can do this now and you can learn how to do it and reconcile, when you start working, it will make your life so much easier. Okay. Can we go to the next slide, please? So as mentioned, we need to differentiate between our key needs and wants. We need to prioritize our needs over our wants. And just so you know, when you do a budget, try to include your savings and your debt repayments under expenses to actually get your true surplus or deficit. Okay. So we're going to go to the next slide now, which is the second power of money management, and that is the power of time. Now, with the power of time, it helps you to achieve two very important things: reduce your debt and increase your savings and investments, right? And this is done with a concept called compounding growth. Now, any finance students in the room? Can you tell me what compounding growth means? So interest on interest on interest, right? It's a snowball effect. Let's do an example together. You are saving 500 Rand a month, right? You earn 50 Rand interest at the end of month 1. For month 2, you're earning interest on 550 and not just 500. As such, the interest is greater. So the sooner you start saving with whatever you can, it will make a difference to achieving your financial goals. I know now as students, you're like, but where's the money going to come from, right? If you do have a surplus and you can save it, try. It will make a difference. And it ties very nicely into the third power, which is the power of small amounts. Because to that topic, what would a small amount of savings do for me? And with time and compounding growth, you can achieve your financial goals. And we'll do an example together. 2 slides forward, please. Okay. So example 1, on the red-hand side, someone saving 750 Rand per month. They are earning 10% interest per annum, okay? And they're saving for a period of 5 years. At the end of 5 years, they're walking away with 60,000 Rand. Now, on the green side, everything remains the same, but the term doubles from 5 to 10 years. They're walking away with 158,000. So for double the time, your investment is 2.5 times it. That's the power of time. Now, take out your phones, please. Open your calculators. Let's do a quick calculation together. Now, we're going to take 750 Rand and we're going to times it by 12. That is how much money is coming out of your pocket each year, right? And we're going to times it by 10. What do we get? 90,000. Okay. Now, on the red side, the person was like, 750, it's not going to make a difference. I'm only going to start saving when I can save 2,000 Rand. So let's do the same example. 2,000 Rand times by 12, but instead of 10, times it by 5. I'm going to tell you why. How much do we get? 120. They are both walking away with 158,000, but on the one side, they're having to fork out more money to achieve the same goal. That's where the power of time and the power of small amounts really does work in your corner. So start saving with what you can now, and you can look to achieve your financial goals. Okay. So let's go to the fourth power, which is the power of choosing, because I can come here and say, guys, please start budgeting and reconcile and save. But if you don't do something, what's going to change? Nothing, right? Do something different. Even if you take away budgeting and reconciling, you will see a difference to your financial wellness. Okay. Sorry, next slide. I should have like a tapper. Yeah. If you look at Einstein's definition of insanity, it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you don't do something different, nothing's going to change. Okay. So those are the 4 powers of money management. And we are now going to go into credit and how to build a good credit score, because this is important. Next slide, please. Okay. So when it comes to credit, when we look at a credit score, what do you think it is? Anyone? No? Why are you so? Yes.
Is like trustworthy to give a note.
100%. Very good. So it's the risk factor, right? So the higher your credit score, the more likely you are to pay back your credit. Okay. So on the red-hand side, you see no score. You then see poor, below average, and average, and then good and great. I actually think that no score shouldn't be red. It should be somewhere on the green. Because what that means as a student is that you haven't had to go to a bank and ask for credit, right? You've been living within your means. It's not a bad place to be, I promise you. On the other side, you could maybe be a student that went and got a TFG account, right? And maybe you weren't in the position to pay the monthly installments. And you blocked the number. Like, no, I'm a student. I'm not gonna be able to pay this back. It's fine. That's going to negatively impact your credit score, and that's going to put you on poor to below average. Where you want to be is good and great. Okay. How do we build a credit score? Let's speak about that. You need credit in order to build a credit score. And the best place to start is a credit card, right? Because if we have to look at the interest rate specifically with our offering, and we'll get into that later, it's a very good rate to be able to use credit. And if we're clever with how we use a credit card, it can work to our advantage. So you need to have credit to build a credit score. So the different types of credit will impact your credit score. The length of time you have had your credit will impact your credit score, as well as the basics. Are you paying back your credit, right? So all of this impacts it. So the reason why you want to be on good and great is for the big purchases. This is the home, the vehicles. A lot of the times you might not be in the position to pay a home cash, right? And that's where having a good credit score works to your advantage, because then we as a bank know with such a big asset, you are a low risk. You are very likely to pay back your monthly installments. So from a credit score perspective, that's how you build your credit. And please, I would rather you be on no score than be on poor and below average. Okay, it's not a bad place to be in as a student. Now, if you want to look at your credit score at the moment, you can look on Experian, TransUnion, ClearScore, CompuScan, and XDX. Every type of credit that you have will show here. And if you've missed debit orders, it will show here. So whenever we do any type of credit application, we actually go and we pull one of these credit reports and we look, how have you been managing your credit? So good for you to also see where you are currently and know how to navigate it. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide, which is interest rates. Josh, do you want to give it a try? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, good. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Joshua van der Merwe. I'm a colleague of Donna's at Standard Bank working within the young professional environment. I'm actually a recent graduate, so for you final years, don't worry, I understand what position you're in. I was there last year, and I started working at Standard Bank, I think it was around about May of this year. So I'm just going to touch on credit and the interest rates, as well as the types of debt you can get, because it's all good and well knowing what a credit score is, how the bank views it. But if you don't necessarily understand the workings behind it, you'll never be able to make good credit decisions to then build that credit score. So the points I'm going to start with first is interest rates. And the question I'm going to ask you guys, especially to the finance students, because I know you guys should know this, does anybody know what the repo rates or the repurchase rate is? Anyone? Okay, not a problem. So what the repurchase rates or the repo rates is the rates at which the South African Reserve Bank lends to the commercial banks. So what the SARB, how they lend to FNB, Standard Bank, ABSA, Investec, all the banks that you normally know of. This is how the Central or Reserve Bank lends to the commercial banks. Does anybody know what the prime rate is? My finance students, where are you guys? Sure. Yes. Yes, that's correct. So for those of you who didn't hear, what he said there is the interest rates at which commercial banks charge their best customers on interest. So if you are sitting in that green band, it's more likely that you'll then receive the prime lending rates whenever you take up credit, whether that's credit cards, vehicle finance, home loans, anything along those lines, you will then get charged a better rate. And a better rate in this case is lower interest. So just remember, when you're saving, higher interest is better. When you're borrowing, lower interest is better. So now that we've just covered over some of the interest rate stuff, we're going to touch on what is good and bad debt. So can anyone tell me the difference between unsecured lending and secured lending? Or unsecured debts and secured debts? Okay, I'll give you a practical example. So now when you go into the mall, let's say you're walking through the mall, right? And you're shopping, you see, okay, cool. Zara's having a special, but I don't actually have any money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out some store credits. I'm going to buy this nice t-shirt, get dripped out, go stunt on the weekends. After which you find out that you can't actually repay that money. After months and months, they're trying to get a hold of you. Do you think Zara is able to come to your house and ask for that t-shirt back? Exactly, that is correct. They aren't actually able to come and ask for the t-shirt back. So that would be unsecured lending. Secured lending is where you borrow on behalf of an asset or collateralize it with an asset. Essentially, what that means is something like a bond or a mortgage, right? So you take out a loan or you take out credits so that you can finance an asset. Do you think that if you do not pay your bond back, the bank can come to your house and say, this belongs to us, and kick you out of the house? Exactly. So now that we've been through the two examples, I just want to ask, which do you think normally has a higher interest rate? Would that be unsecured debt or secured debt?
Secured debt.
Oh, I'm hearing a mix here. Someone put up their hand now. Anybody? Oh, okay, no, it's fine. So yes, unsecured debts would have a higher interest rate. The reason for this is because the financial service provider that's essentially giving you the credit is unable to recoup the loss that they've made, right? So they charge you exorbitant interest rates. And unfortunately, people get caught in this trap of getting store accounts. But if you take a look at your statements, chances are you're paying extremely high credit on that, right? You're probably paying around 18, 20%. And this really adds up, especially over time. Donna spoke about the power of time, small amounts, and compounding. This is also a reality for interest, right? So what we now offer in sort of to help you start building your credit score without having to worry about these exorbitant interest amounts is our credit card. And on our credit card, we offer you prime minus 0.25% guaranteed. That means no matter what your credit score looks like today, that is the rate that you will get. So like I said, if you remember, I said prime is what banks offer to their best customers. We are offering you better than that. And I can promise you, I don't think there is another bank in South Africa that can do that at the moment. Am I correct? Yes. Yeah, so that's just something because we see the value that you guys are bringing and we understand the positions that you're in. You may need credit to get your life started, maybe buy a car, buy a house. And so we're giving you this prime minus because we understand that the position that you're in and we know that you'll go on to be professionals and make money. And when you make money, we make money as well. So if you just go over to the next slide, please. So this is our professional banking offering. What this is it forms part of the private banking suite here at Standard Bank, and it is specifically for you guys and for myself as well. I'm actually a holder of this account. So especially for our final year students, we are going to give you private banking for half the cost. That means you will not find private banking at any other bank for a lower service fee. What is the service fee? We'll get to that at the end. Does anybody know what private banking entails versus mass market or commercial banking? Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. We'll go through that as well. So with private banking, what you'll get is your own dedicated private banker, transactional banker, and financial planner. That means whatever your banking needs are, you do not ever have to step into another branch. You just call up your private banker and you say, look, this is what I need, this is my situation, and they'll get it sorted for you. It's all about providing you with the convenience, because we know when you're studying, you're busy. When you start working, you're going to be even busier. You don't have time to go into a branch. So we trying to step in and provide you with that convenience of private banking. Some of the benefits of the professional banking accounts, besides the private banker, transactional banker, and financial planner, is some of our travel benefits, apologies. The first one is access to our domestic airport lounges. Has anyone been to an airport lounge, either in Syria or Tambo? Yes. Okay, I see a few hands. Okay, so for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of being in an airport lounge, don't worry, you will be there soon. This is essentially what it looks like. So when you go to the airport, you walk through security, and once you pass security, you normally have one choice, and that's to go either sit at one of the restaurants or sit on those metal benches there in the airport. I don't know if you guys have seen those. With the private banking, there's a second option. You'll go up the lift, normally it's up the lift, and there's a private area where you go in, you'll swipe your card, and they'll welcome you as a Standard Bank private account holder. You get to sit down on nice, comfortable leather chairs, and everything in the lounge itself is free. That's free Wi-Fi, free food, free drinks, whether that's alcoholic or that's soft drinks as well. You pick your poison. You get to rub shoulders with industry professionals such as yourselves as well. So these are just some of the benefits. There are a lot more. I mean, as you can see, there's a lot more. I won't cover all of them today, but the reason we're here today is to offer this up to you, especially for the final year students. We are here to meet you where you're at and give you the private banking so that you can not only start your career on the right foot, but you can build your life and live wealthier with Standard Bank. Thank you. Oh, actually, before I forget, for our final year students, if you do take up the account, we do actually have 2 extra gifts for you. The first gift is if you take up the professional banking account, you will receive free banking until March of next year. So that is the 1st of March, 2026. So you get to enjoy all these benefits for free until next year once you start working. If by next year you haven't started working, not a problem. You just call up your private banker and let them know, and then they'll be able to extend that free banking up to a year after you open the account. The second thing we're going to do for you is once your salary drops into the professional banking accounts, we are going to give you 2,000 Rand in UCount points. These points can be used for anything such as shopping at our partnering stores, or you can go convert it into cash and use that for whatever you like. So whether that's saving, investing, which is the wise thing, or if you want to blow it at Checkers, Lekker, or Tops at Spa, that's your choice. So these are just some of the things that we do want to give to you, and just to say thank you for taking up the account if you do. Myself and Donna will be in contact with everyone who scanned the QR code to speak to about professional banking. If you would like to speak to us more around that or any of your financial needs, we will give you a call in the week and we can take you out for lunch as well, just to sort of ease your mind and answer any questions you might have. That's all from me. So thank you very much.
Please just stay for questions.
Yes.
All right, let's see. You have your moment. Any questions?
Nothing.
Nothing, nothing, nothing.
Nothing around credit. There's always a few. No? Yes.
Where? Where's the question?
And then.
Okay, right.
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity to ask my question. So with credit, how would you advise keeping up with the fact that you have to pay back for, credit, yeah.
So I think it links back to budgeting, right? So from a payment back perspective, just because you qualify for something, can you actually afford it? It links back to that. So before you take on any type of credit or debt, You need to make sure from a budget perspective, can you afford the monthly repayments? So it all links back to budgeting. And generally, a lot of the times from a credit perspective, these installments will come off your account as a debit order, right? So yes, just I would always say time it so that these debit orders go off when your salary goes into the account. Yeah.
Thank you. We can allow another question.
Thank you. My name is Katlego, and I wanted to ask, in terms of the credit card, specifically for students, is there like a minimum, or what's the maximum amount can you get, and like what are the repercussions in a sense if you fall short? Is there support in place? It's a multi-loaded question, but like, is there support in place? Because things like prime rate, interest rate, things like that, like you might not have, but once you get in the credit world or in the world of like banking and taking care of yourself and borrowing and stuff, it gets a little bit complex, even for myself who stays updated.
100%. So great question, right? So from a limit perspective, it's up to 20,000 Rand. I always like to say with any type of credit application that you do, you need to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Right? If you are getting a credit card to go to Cape Town to pop bottles because you just graduated, maybe not the best reason to have gotten the credit card. But if, for example, you are relocating to a different province and you need the credit card to be able to purchase a mattress and a microwave or things like that, that's a good credit because that's setting you up in your profession, right? So before we take any credit, I always like to iterate that you need to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Now, I think another thing that's really important or a benefit of being with professional banking, right, is that you get the private bankers. So they essentially your financial coaches. So they can really sit down with you and they can be like, you know, this is practically what the interest is going to mean. And this is how you repay it and so on and so forth. They can train you and teach you. And I think from a repercussions perspective, and this is applicable to all credit providers, sometimes life happens, right? And maybe circumstances arise that you aren't able to pay back your debt. Don't block the number. Pick up the phone, give them a call, because most credit providers will make arrangements with you. They would rather recoup something than nothing at all. So I think from a repercussions perspective, yes, if you block it and you're not making payments, it's going to negatively affect your credit score, which will impact you in the future should you want to buy that big purchase, right? But rather make those arrangements than ignore it. Face the problem with your private banker and the credit providers.
Right, thank you, Donna. Let's just find out, is there perhaps online a question? Let's not forget them. No question. Then we can have a last question. Yeah.
Good day, everybody. So my question is, if I want to open a compound interest savings account, do I have to go to the branch in person or can I do it over the phone?
Please don't. So are you in your final year?
What?
Are you in your final year of study?
Nah.
Okay, so you don't need to go into the branch, right? If you want to open up an investment account, there's a variety of things you can look at. You can look at tax-free, you can look at immediate access, notice accounts, fixed deposits. You can also look at getting the advice through a financial planner, and they can do unit trusts and so on. So what I would say first, have a look at the website of whichever bank you're looking to invest with. There would be a whole variety. So you need to ask, number one, how much are you going to invest? What is the time horizon that you're looking at? And then pick your options accordingly. Most of the time you can open up these accounts online. If you would like to put something together that is a little bit more diversified, that has a variety of asset classes, speak to a financial planner and they can structure something for you. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm sure there are many more questions, but we will have a networking session if you want to ask further questions. So, Donna and Joss, thank you very, very much. Just I'll ask Munwa to come and hand over. Thank you, a little thank you something.
Oh, did you? Oh, you good?
Yes. Yes.
Can I just put
I'll take one of
the bottle down?
Closer to this bed. Good.
Yes. Beautiful.
Good wife. Yes.
Thank you so much once again. And here we get, just before we wrapping up, I'm sure it was greatly informative. You've learned that. And yeah, that's a good thing to remember what you both said. Start saving small. And my dad always used to say to me when I was a teacher, I earned 600 Rand a month. And he said, save 10%. Did I do it? You know? But think if I started saving that 60 Rand, and as your salary grows, what you would have had today. So take that good advice then to heart. Thanks so much once again. Now I'm just going to ask Monwa to wrap up and to tell what you can expect here at the networking session. Thanks so much. Thanks so much to everyone, and most of all to you being here.
Right, good afternoon, everyone. It's been a long day. I really, truly understand that. So thank you so much. I think my job is the easiest, really, out of this entire engagement. It's just to say thank you. So to our speakers, Prof Corné Meintjes, who's the director at CAT, thank you so much for your wisdom. I think we all, grab some nuggets from your talk. And I love that we record the entire series. So I think for those that couldn't make it today, this will be a very valuable resource. And I think to our speakers as well, financial literacy is critical, I think, in all of our lives. As we always say, money runs the world. So we kind of have to jump on that boat and really grapple with getting ahead and ensuring that not only ourselves are okay, but also our families, because I think we all grow to also take care of our own families. So, especially if you're going to be a parent, right? You need to be a leader. You need to be able to ensure that you can, take care of your family. So really appreciate Standard Bank and championing students in sponsoring this series. We obviously hope for your support for next year as well. So thank you so much, Standard Bank, and to our students who have taken the time. So we also understand that a lot of you are in the midst of assessments and gearing up for exams quite soon. So for you to take the time to be here, to take in the insights is also truly appreciated. So thank you so much. So as we do throughout the series, we have a networking session at the end. So our team is, putting out the food for you to enjoy. So please just stay seated. I think if you haven't handed in your slip, please do so. So the idea with the slip is that after you've enjoyed your meal, that you find the person who wrote, the slip that will be slipped into a container. So you'll grab a container after you've enjoyed your meal. And then after grabbing that slip, the idea is really just to find the person who wrote the slip. But really the main aim is for you to, mingle, get to know your peers in the UJenius club. So one of the important things that we do in the club is to make sure that you guys get to meet each other. So obviously in partnership with our, sponsors, they make this, possible for us. So thank you so much again to Standard Bank, but more importantly to you as a student for being here. I think without you, we don't have an event to begin with. So really, I think as you graduate, you'll realize that the connections that you form in university can really propel you, whether it's in your career or even just personally. I think we all go through challenges. So making sure that we, rub shoulders with the people that are also like-minded, because all of you here share one thing in common. You're all top achievers, right? So just being in this room, I think for us as a team at CATS and obviously the UJenius Club, makes us really incredibly happy to be able to make this possible, obviously in partnership with our, partners. So thank you so much. So we will have the box or the container here at the front. So if you care to, participate in the networking, activity, please do so, but you don't have to. You can also just talk to the person next to you as well. So with that, everyone, thank you so much. Please enjoy yourself and, have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, so if you are vegetarian, we also have an option for you. Just please let us know here at the docking station. Also, if you have any questions, please just also let us know as well. Thanks so much. And also in terms of the drinks, they're also at the front. So we'll come around and hand those over to you as well. Okay, thank you. Really appreciate it.